All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the online service of the Church of Infinite Spirit. I'm Reverend Lauren Skye, one of the founders of this church. Our community has been meeting since 1999, and it's the mission of this church to inspire spiritual freedom by supporting people in knowing themselves as spiritual beings and as a part of the consciousness that creates this universe. And we celebrate the joyous transformation that comes from that knowing of self as spirit. Here, we hope to recapture the intention of church as a respite from the noise of life, as a space of remembrance of our spiritual nature, and a place of joyful connection. We are non-dogmatic and non-judgmental. There's no control, punishment, or reward energy here. We respect your divine right to create your own reality and manage your energy however you choose. It's always a take what you can use and leave the rest environment. When we share, it's with the intention of inspiring you to find your own truth, rather than convincing you to follow our truth. I'm honored that you're taking a break with me today for the next 30 minutes or so to remember your spiritual nature and give to yourself. We always like to start with a short meditation, so let's do that now. Meditation invites us out of the stories we're telling ourselves, about what's true. And it invites us into deep spiritual truth, where we have the power to change that story, those decisions, and create change in our lives. And doing it together is super, super powerful. So we'll walk through a short 4-step process to kind of come present as spirit and shift our energy. If you want to participate, it's helpful to place your feet flat on the floor and close your eyes. You notice just closing your eyes is sort of a meditation in itself. We stop all that input visually and have more space to go within. First step of our 4-step process is called grounding. And grounding is simply an imaginary connection from the base of the spine to the center of the earth. The base of the spine is the location of the first chakra energy center. We ground from the first to the earth. It happens by pretending or imagining. Imagination is a key to spiritual awareness. So just pretend, imagine, play along. Imagine a colored beam of light coming out of the base of your spine, like a tail would, right from the spot where a tail would be if you had one. Only it's a straight down tail. Let this tail of light grow through your chair, straight down into the floor, all the way through the layers of the earth and to the center of the earth. Imagine that beam of light connecting, merging with the center of the earth. And this grounding cord, as the beam of light is called, creates a conduit for you to release energy you don't need to be carrying. So much of the stress and pain we experience is simply a result of energy recycling through the chakra system. It could be released. It could be grounded out. And if that colored beam of light doesn't do it for you, you could imagine a strong tree root from the base of your spine to the center of the earth, or a plant stem, and you are the flower. Your stem extending from the base of your spine to the center of the earth, stabilizing the chakra system, releasing that which you don't need, and inviting you as spirit, making space for you as spirit more and more in the present time body. You might feel a little heavier in the chair when you first ground. That's okay. Let grounding do its work, and within moments, you'll actually feel lighter, as the energy you don't need is released into the center of the earth and recycled into neutral creative force. The second step in this meditation is to open the 6th chakra energy center. And the 6th chakra sits in the middle of our heads, behind the eyes, between the ears. The physical location is the pineal gland, deep in that brain of yours. And the way to open the 6th chakra energy center is to simply place your attention there. Again, by imagining. Imagine being in the middle of your head. Often we're scattered in space and time. Coming into the center of head brings the power of our focus back to ourselves and helps create a calm within from which we can look at our story and change it. The third step of this meditation process is to manage the aura field around us, kind of that field of energy that extends outward from the body. Everything emanates energy. Objects, people, situations leave residual energy. And when we manage our aura, the bubble of energy closest to our body, it's almost like putting on a little psychic protection. We can define what is ours and what isn't. What can we control and what can we not control? To manage the aura, we simply imagine once again. Imagine being inside a big soap bubble or eggshell. We want that bubble or shell to be an arm's length out from the body. So if you stretched your arms out, you touch it. And it's going to go all around you, sides, front and back, top and bottom, all at that arm's length, kind of like what we think of as personal space. When someone walks into your aura, you notice. And we can strengthen that aura field by painting this bubble around us a color. So you can imagine your aura coming to a particular color. What color feels good to you? What color would you like around your body? People often ask, what color is my aura? But you can choose too. My aura today is purple. You might bring your bubble to whatever color you'd enjoy. And you could even imagine that bubble at the bottom below your feet tucks right into that grounding cord. So if there's energy you don't need in the aura bubble, it can fall down the grounding cord without having to come through the chakras. And the paradigm of information that we work with. We control what's in the bubble, our body, our energetic body, the chakras, and our aura field. And we can create change from the inside out by changing the energies we carry. In fact, our experience of life is a reflection of those energies, the energies stored in the body, chakras, and aura, and the energetic body. So as we shift those energies within, we get a different experience around us, back in the reflection of life. We've been releasing energy down the grounding cord. Let's bring some in. We bring in energy again by imagining. This time, would you imagine a big golden ball above your head, a big golden ball of light, like a big gold sun? The big gold sun is neutral energy, and we're going to define it with a word. There are words that reflect frequencies of energy: love, peace, joy, stress, worry, pain, frenzy, clarity. What's a word that represents an energy you'd enjoy having more of in your life? How about fun? How about freedom? Pick a word: love, peace, joy, fun, freedom, any word at all. And here's how you make your sun a specific flavor, a specific frequency, a specific word. Take that word that represents the energy you'd like to experience and simply imagine writing it across the sun. Watch what happens. The sun will absorb, take in, become, and multiply that word so that the sun becomes a big gold sun of the energy you've chosen. So now you got a big gold sun of fun or love or peace or whatever you chose right above your head. And it's in affinity with you because you created it with your intention. It's not somebody else's flavor. To bring that energy into your space and into your experience, simply imagine setting that sun right into your body, or reach up with your hand and poke a hole in the bottom of it and let that energy stream into you and fill you. As it does, let the grounding cord draw out even more of what you don't need as that golden light comes in and fills you, your whole head, neck, and shoulders, your chest and torso, and all your guts. Your butt in the chair, your legs, knees, all the way down to your feet. down your arms and hands and fingers too. And if you are topped off and absolutely full and there's even more, that energy can flow into the aura field around you. Notice how you feel. If you'd like another gold sun, give yourself another one. There's an infinite supply. And as the energy comes into you, it's integrated into your being. So there's always room for more. You might want to stay right here in this meditation space as you receive the day's message. Or you might want to open your eyes and stretch your body and watch the screen. Either one is fine. Today, I'd like to share about an interaction that happened in one of our clairvoyant development classes. We were doing some astral travel exercises, and one of the students asked, how do we know we're really doing this? How do we know this is real? And it's a good question, but the part of her that was asking the question isn't capable of perceiving the answer. We exist across a wide range of reality. We are a human being and a spiritual being at the same time. We don't stop being a spiritual being when we become human. We're both. Different aspects of us perceive energy differently. And that's true on multiple levels. Our ears can't hear blue and our noses can't smell music. The part of us that wants the material proof of spirit is the thinking mind. In our classes, we call this the analyzer. The analyzer is an important part of our being, but it isn't capable of perceiving energy. The analyzer involves linear thinking, logic. It's closely linked to the third chakra. It figures things out in the world of matter. It problem solves, does math, these sorts of things. But energy is not its job, just as it isn't the job of the ears to see or smell. And just because the ears don't see or smell, we know there are smells and there are things to look at. The range of energy or information that the analyzer, the thinker, can perceive is really quite small. That which can be processed and understood through linear thought, it's a tiny, tiny fraction of all the information and energy that is. And what's outside the analyzer's range doesn't make sense to the analyzer, so it seems impossible to the analyzer. And when the analyzer does receive new information, there's an instinctive tendency to define it according to past experience, to relate it to something that's already known. So that, combined with our cultural programming, these are legitimate challenges in allowing spiritual perception that many people come into a relationship with as they grow and learn about spirit. We are indoctrinated at a young age that only what the analyzer can see is real, and everything else is just fantasy. We allow little children to have the full range of perception, letting their imagination soar until it's time to go to school. Then we're told to pay attention, and all that other fun perception is now just your imagination. But what we call imagination is key to spiritual perception. When students begin to read, so many of them say, I feel like I'm just making it up. And that's because we've taken a whole range of information and relegated it to fantasy. And we've said, this isn't real, just because it's outside the purview of the analyzer. Another denial of spirit comes from our rejection of religious control. More and more people look at the controlling dogma, the punishment and reward systems of religious orders and say, no thanks. That doesn't work for me. And I'd say that's a step in the right direction. But just because the systems don't fit doesn't mean spirit isn't real. The worship of the intellect as superior to all is throwing out the baby with the bathwater. When we only allow a small range of self and cut ourselves off from our spiritual nature, a deep loneliness, a longing sets in, and we begin to seek outside ourselves to fill a hole that can only be satisfied by spirit. And we call that an advanced culture. In science, we have dark matter, which just means we don't know what it is yet. About 4 or 5% of our DNA goes toward building the body. Science calls the rest junk DNA because they can't figure out what it's doing. When psychics look at DNA, we see the part called junk is actually a treasure trove of information about ancestral karma, past lives, the Akashic records, and the intentions of the soul in a particular lifetime. It's not junk at all. But because the linear mind can't make sense of it, it isn't allowed to be real in the larger population. Excuse me. Things are changing and awareness is expanding more and more every day. Marianne Williamson ran for president and got on the debate stage. That's a great step. Quantum physics has shown science that we've only touched the tip of the iceberg, and that what we tend to perceive is just a tiny fraction of all that is. Because at the quantum level of being, particles behave differently than they do in the world of solid matter. And they can exist in more than one state or place at one time. And why should they not? They, like we, exist across a span of reality. We are made of them. They are us. And it's all one unified field of consciousness. And we, for example, when we astral travel, can exist in more than one place at the same time. In fact, we always do. We just tend not to notice, and we tend not to harness that. When we take on an incarnation, we agree to walk in the world of matter. Our physical eyes and visual cortex of the brain are built to filter out energy. If we could see all the energy that is, it would be difficult to walk across a room. But it's still all there, and we can let ourselves perceive it and engage with it with our spiritual vision, which is so different than the physical eyes. If you're a person who lives in awareness, as most everyone on this call does, you may notice people are getting more and more open. At the same time, there are still a lot of people who we just can't talk to about spirit or the world of non-material realm or energy or information. Somehow there's still this permission to kind of mock or shame those on the non-traditional spiritual path, like we're crazy, freaky, whatever. There are only a few people who give us testimonials about our classes that also give us permission to use their full name. Many of them are sort of in hiding, and I understand why. The student I mentioned earlier probably doesn't have many people in her world that she's to share what she's really up to in class, but she has that longing that so many people do. That longing to know herself as spirit. In her question, there's the longing. And we give her the answer every class. She's opening to hearing it. I wonder how her life will be different when she knows, for absolute sure, that she exists beyond the analyzer, that spirit is real, and that she is an eternal being of light and energy who has walked the earth before and will do it again. We can be free of religious control and the religion of the intellect, and we can have it all. It takes a little courage to unseat the analyzer from the throne. Ideally, the analyzer eventually becomes the servant of the spirit, the spiritual truth in the crown chakra, and that which is energy, helping to manifest the vision of the incarnated soul. It does take a little courage to be different in the culture. I'm happy to walk in a world of boxes as outside the box as I can get. I don't know much about tarot, but a card reader once said to me, remember, in the tarot deck, the Fool is the freest card, nothing to prove, unbounded by shame and free to explore. So I'm happy to be the fool in someone else's universe if it means I get to experience the world outside the box. The box of the analyzer is a symptom of what we as a culture have decided is real and possible. What we call that which happens outside the box a miracle. But a miracle is just a movement of energy that's outside the agreed upon boundary of reality. Those agreed upon boundaries change and have nothing to do with the actual possibilities of reality. I've been grateful to experience many miracles along the way, and whenever I talk about them, people often begin to share with great enthusiasm miracles that they've experienced, but they keep them secret because they don't want anybody to think they're crazy. So how do we get out of the box? First, we acknowledge that we're in one. We admit that the analyzer doesn't know everything. We stop thinking so much, and we relax into the capabilities of spiritual seeing and knowing that live in the 6th and 7th chakras. We stop improving ourselves and start enjoying ourselves. And we stop asking how, and we start saying thank you. We stop asking how, and we start saying thank you. And I'd like to meditate on that today. So let's go back into that meditation space if you came out of it. Close your eyes. Notice your grounding cord. Did it drop off? Sometimes they do. If it dropped off, you can simply reimagine it, a connection from the base of your spine to the center of the earth. A connection that draws from you energy you don't need, energy that becomes service to the earth and makes space for you as a spiritual being to come present into the body. Would you notice the middle of your head and imagine being in the middle of your head? Notice your bubble around you. In meditation, we access a range of ourselves that's different than the everyday conversation space. If it's hard, that just means the analyzer is trying to do it. The analyzer stinks at meditation. It does not know how to get quiet. So instead, find that center of head place, different than the analyzer, much, much calmer. And let everything else go. Easier said than done, I know. Notice the idea of stopping asking how and starting saying thank you. Notice something you'd like to manifest in your world. And seated in the 6th chakra, imagine, thank you, Spirit, that this is so. So thank you, Spirit, or God, or universe, or consciousness, or whatever words you like for all one, the unified field. Thank you, Spirit, for the perfect job for me. Let it be simple. Notice the analyzer wants to fill in all the details and what it has to look like. But really, the perfect job for you covers it all. Thank you, God, for the perfect partner for me. Thank you, God, for the perfect home for me. Thank you, Spirit, for clarity of my next step. Whatever you seek, be in gratitude for. And watch that analyzer, all the details, maybe the reasons this can't be so. Watch it, but don't become it. Those are just thoughts. Instead, focus on the gratitude. Thank you, God. fill in the blank. It's more familiar to grab on to the thoughts and run them. It's more familiar to justify or argue with the reasons of the analyzer, but consider a different way. What if you recognized yourself as larger than the analyzer, free to wield intention through gratitude? It starts with this simple sentence. Maybe you want to say this simple sentence to yourself or out loud a few times a day. Coming back to thank you for brings us back to ourselves as spirit. Now, you still have to show up in the world and participate. It doesn't work to sit on your couch and say, thank you, God, for the perfect job for me all day and never get up. But if you are moving through the day in this state of openness, in the knowingness of the box and that you don't have to be in it, the range of possibilities becomes larger. You allow spiritual reality to influence the process, create synchronicity, and bring miracles. And that's so much more fun than insisting everything be stuffed through the tiny analyzer. How did dimes come out of my feet during a retreat in Hawaii? How did a pair of earrings I watched drop down a sink drain arrive in my jewelry box a few weeks later? How was my credit report erased during a messy divorce when my soon-to-be ex was racking up debt in both our names? How did my fingerprints change? I don't need to know how. I only say thank you. When a miracle happens, I say thank you, God, for this, and I'm open to more. It doesn't need to make sense to me. I don't need to put it in a box. And I don't need to put me in the box either. So be open. And when miracles happen, don't ask how. Just say thank you. Another important step here. Imagine stopping improving yourself and instead enjoying yourself. You're a spiritual being on the human adventure, born way more than good enough. You can enjoy the ride. You're unique, magnificent, and amazing, with the divine right to connect with the spirit that you are, with all of consciousness, and with all of the access to joy that connection brings. Knowing this helps us receive that which is for us on the path and helps us get outside the box of the analyzer. Sometimes we have to practice knowing it. You're in a receptive state of meditation. Would you like to stop improving yourself and start enjoying yourself? Do you know you're unique, magnificent, and amazing, with the divine right to connect with the spirit that you are, with all of consciousness, and with all the access to joy that that connection brings? Take a moment to remember that. Let's top this off with a big gold sun. What would you like to bring in? Do you want to bring in the same vibration you brought in earlier in the talk? Do you want to grab on something new? Maybe notice an energy that would support you in releasing the boxes of reality, or more accurately, the boxes that limit reality. Maybe fun, maybe validation, that knowingness of your divinity, your uniqueness, and your magnificence. Maybe truth. Whatever would be nice for you, create a gold sun of it by creating that big gold sun above your head. Notice when you imagine it, you create it at the spiritual level of reality, that level that seeds all of experience, even the material reality. Create that gold sun above your head. Pick a word. Freedom, fun, validation, self-love. Write the word across the sun. Watch the word absorb, become, and multiply the sun and become a big gold sun of the vibration that you've chosen. And when you're ready, set that sun right into your being. Pop it or drop it, as we say. Set it in or poke a hole in the bottom of it and let the energy stream into you. Fill up with what you'd like. Notice how it does shift your vibration. As you let that golden light come in and fill you head to toe, head and neck and shoulders, chest and torso, arms and legs, hands, feet, toes, fingers. And if there's more, let it spill into the aura field around you. Let that energy be integrated into your being. So you become what you'd like. And when that's done, you could open your eyes and stretch your body, or you could stay right there in meditation. If we were meeting in person, this is the time in a church service where we would pass the baskets and ask for your contributions to the Church of Infinite Spirit. Since we can't do that now, we can't pass a physical basket, we're accepting donations with deep gratitude on our website, innerconnection.org, under the sanctuary page. So please consider supporting us if that feels right in your heart. We always ask that you contribute only what feels good to you, out of a place of enthusiasm and perhaps gratitude, never from obligation. We are a nonprofit, and so your donations are tax deductible. And please know that they do make a difference. Even small donations mean a lot. They help us with the constant technology upgrades we have to do, the cost of the platforms of our free services, and other things that make the space possible. We do appreciate your contributions deeply, and we always intend and trust that the totality of today's contributions will return to each person on the call many, many-fold. When we would pass the baskets in person, we would tell jokes. So I brought a few today. I looked up jokes about science. Why can't you trust an atom? Because they make everything up. Pretty good, pretty good. A photon checks into a hotel. The bellhop asks, "Can I take your luggage?" And the photon replies, "I don't have any. I'm traveling light." I like that. Where does bad light end up? In a prism. Okay, one more. How many theoretical physicists does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer is 2. One to hold the bulb and the other to rotate the universe. That was a good one too. Okay. Oh, one more. A neutron walks into a bar and asks, "How much for a drink?" And the bartender replies, "For you, no charge." Okay, enough. So, as we get ready to close this time together today, I invite you to release how and bring thank you into your life. And I invite you to see that there are boxes and that they can be torn down. We'll be staying on the line today for a little social time after the talk. If you'd like to visit, just stay on the call. I thank you deeply, deeply, deeply for being here today, both here with me and here in Earth in divine timing. And I thank you for the gift of your time and attention. These are 2 of your most valuable resources in incarnation, and I receive them with honor and gratitude. We'll say goodbye for now. For now, everybody, stay on the line if you'd like. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.